real place or imaginary place? There is a poem, When I Set Out for Lyonnesse, by Thomas Hardy, tricks to put the readers in awesome wonder writings with ease on simple theme, a journey to Lyonnesse, the mythical birthplace of Sir Tristram in England. It is believed to have been submerged by the sea. Let's see about the poem and the imaginary place. So first of all, let's know about the poet, and then let's look at the small summary of the poem, and finally there is a question answer session for you. So about the poet, Thomas Hardy, the son of a stonemason, was born in Dorset, England on June 2, 1840. He trained as an architect and worked in London and Dorset for 10 years. Hardy began his writing career as a novelist, publishing Desperate Remedies, and was soon successful enough to leave the field of architecture for writings. He left fiction writing for poetry and published 8 collections including poems of the past and the present and the satires of circumstances. Hardy's poetry explores a fatalist outlook against the dark, rugged landscape of his native Dorset. And Thomas Hardy died on January 11, 1928. Okay, now friends, let's move on to the brief summary of the poem When I Set Out for Lyonnesse. The poem is about the poet's journey to Lyonnesse. Lyonnesse is actually a mythical place in Arthurian legend. The poet uses this place to create an ambience of charm and happiness. Here, the poet refers to the actual occurrence that changes his life forever. Actually, the poet goes there to supervise the restoration of a church. The poet, as a young architect, went to supervise the reconstruction of a church near Cornwall. The place was 100 miles away from his home. The poet sojourned there for a few days, where he happened to meet a young lady named Emma Gifford. He fell in love with her, and later on he married her. This incident filled his life with pleasure and satisfaction. The poet was moved to such an extent by the incident that he left his profession of architecture. This was one of the most interesting happenings of Hardy's life. To commemorate this happy incident, the poet composed this poem and uses Lyonnesse as a setting of his poem. Lyonnesse is a mythical place, and here it is used as a land of joyfulness, gaiety and contentment. So in the first part, the poet gives an account of his loneliness and cold atmosphere, and in the second stanza, the poet speaks of the unexpected happiness that he comes by at the place. In the third stanza is about the twinkling of his eyes and unmeasurable glow in his heart. So students, this was all about the poem When I Set Out for Lyonnesse. It's a very beautiful poem, a mythical poem, and I hope all of you like this poem very well. Now let's move on to the question answer session. Answer the following questions. Question number 1. What does Lyonnesse refer to? And why does the poet use this name instead of real one? Answer. Lyonnesse is a mythological place in Arthurian legend. The poet uses this place as a setting of his poem to create an air of magic and mysticism. The poem is written on the experience of the poet's journey to a church near Cornwall. This experience remains as an important event in the memory of the poet. Hence, Lyonnesse is used as a land of bliss and perfect happiness. Question number 2. When was the poem written and when was it first published? Answer. The poem was written in 1869 when the poet went to a church near Cornwall. He was in the church to supervise the reconstruction of the church, but the poem was first published in 1914 in his collection of poems, Satire of Circumstances, Lyrics and Reveries. Question number 3. What were the changes in the poet in his journey to Lyonnesse? Answer. After visiting the place, the poet became happy and glad. This journey had changed his life completely. His heart was filled with unfathomable joy, and there was a reflection of heavenly bliss in his eyes. Such gifts were totally unexpected to the poet. Question number 4. What are the stages mentioned in the poet's journey to Lyonnesse and what are they? Answer. There are 3 stages mentioned in the poem. The poem is about the poet's trip to a church near Cornwall. It is actually a description of the development of the poet's state of mind. These 3 phases are before his journey, his staying at the place and his journey back home. Question number 5. Comment on the structure of the poem. Answer. The poem consists of 3 stanzas with 6 lines each. Each of the stanzas has different rhyme scheme which is given below. Stanza 1, AB, BA, AB. Stanza 2, AC, CA, AC. And stanza 3, AD, DA, AD. Question number 6. Did the poet have prior knowledge about what would happen to him at Lyonnesse? Answer. The poet had hardly any prior knowledge about what would happen to him at Lyonnesse. He was in a vacant mood and he was alone in his journey to the place. He went there as an architect to supervise the reconstruction of a church. He was moved by the happenings to such an extent that he leaves the profession of architecture. Question number 7. How was the atmosphere when the poet set out for Lyonnesse? Answer. When the poet set out for Lyonnesse, it was late evening. The atmosphere was cold and chilly. Trees were covered with frost. Nature seems to be silent and desolate, as if it had lost its charm and loveliness. Question number 8. What were the sudden changes in the appearance of the poet that people could understand? Answer is, when the poet come back home from Lyonnesse, the people saw sudden changes in facial expression of the poet. The poet had magic in his eyes and this gave him extra confidence. Besides, the people could understand that the heart of the poet was filled with the glow of blessings which is unfathomable and rare in quality. Question number 9. What did the speaker say about a prophet or a wizard? Answer. The poet said that a prophet could hardly say about what would happen to him at Lyonnesse. Even the wisest magician had not the power to guess the incident that brought a drastic change in the life of the poet. Move on to the 10th question. Which season was it when the poet was traveling to Lyonnesse? Answer. At the very beginning, the poet speaks of rime that covered the trees. This indicates the season was not other than winter. In winter, paths remain lonely and empty. This also implies that it was winter. Question number 11. What would bechance at Lyonnesse? What is the meaning of bechance? In what context did the poet use this term? Answer. The word bechance means happen or find by chance. The poet went to supervise the reconstruction of a church near Cornwall where he stayed few days. The experience that he gathered there made him a different self. Nobody could guess about these incidents. These experiences were unexpected to him. These experiences changed his life drastically. Move on to the last question of this lesson, that is question number 12. My radiance rare and fathomless. Who is the speaker and what does the speaker want to mean here? Answer. The poet Thomas Hardy himself is the speaker. The poet realizes some changes within himself in the course of his journey. The experiences of this journey alter the course of his life completely. He becomes self-confident as he feels in his heart the unfathomable glow of some rare quality. Okay friends, let's wind up today's class. I will meet you in next video with another important chapter for you. So till then, have a nice day and goodbye.